So you've probably heard of ChatGPT, and if you're on this channel, you probably have. And also maybe a couple of other competitors like Google Gemini or Anthropic's Claude. Those are like the three most famous AI tools out there. Maybe you've heard of Grok from Elon Musk. Uh, Meta has one called Llama that normal people aren't actually typically using. And there's a few other smaller ones, like Character AI, that are more dedicated. And all of these tools come from big commercial companies. And if you want to do anything more than the basic freebie plan, you have to upgrade to a premium tier. That's usually starts around 20 bucks a month. And you don't know how these companies work, how their AIs work, what they do. You can't change them. You can do a little bit of fine tuning on them, but that's about it. Add your own context to them. But there's a limit to what you can do with these big commercial platforms because they're not yours. They're owned by somebody else. And there's an alternative, and the alternative is open source AI. With open source AI, you can literally download the whole AI and use it on your own computer. You don't have to go to chatgpt.com and use things on their website. You can have things on your computer, you can have it offline so that nobody sees your questions or its answers. You can change the program, you can modify the AI in any way you want, and it's completely free. And you can do anything you want with it. So that's open source AI. And there's three main places to get open source AI, one of which isn't really open source, and one of which is pretty problematic. So the one that isn't really open source is Facebook's or Meta's Llama AI. It's not fully open source because if you're above a certain corporate size, you have to get Meta's permission in order to use the program. And there's a lot of information about it that they don't release. It's kind of a fake open source license, and the open source community doesn't even really consider it to be open source. So that was the main one that enterprises were using for a while because it was the only real thing out there. And it was the only thing anywhere near close to the commercial apps like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini. And so it was the most popular open source tool in the enterprises. Then the Chinese companies started coming out. DeepSeek, it's an open source program AI model from China. It is almost as good as ChatGPT, Anthropic, and Gemini. It is right up there with the frontier models. And it's cheap. It runs really efficiently. They had some clever tweaks on it to make it really cheap to run, which it makes it very appealing to a lot of companies. And you can download it on your own computer or a server that you rent, or however you run software, and very appealing. And there's others as well coming out of China that have also been pretty good, like most recently Quen. And there's a lot of image and video generators coming out of China that are very good, and coding tools. But they're out of China and they have to comply with Chinese rules and regulations and Chinese censorship. So you really you really have to be in a position where you have to trust what's in the program, because how many of us can really go through in detail and analyze the code and training data and all this other stuff and try to pull the censorship out? There are some people trying to do that, but at the end of the day, they're a little problematic for companies that don't care about the whole Chinese government censorship issue. That's probably less of an issue because the AIs are cheap and they're very, very good. And we have a third option out of Europe called Mistral AI, Mistral. I'm gonna have all the links in description boxes in the description box below and in the first pinned comment. And so Mistral is open source. It's Apache 2.0 license, which is pretty much one of the best open source licenses you can have. There's a bunch of them. With this license, you can download the app, the AI model. You can change it, or you can resell it. You can make a commercial product on top of it, and it's all okay. And if you want support, if you want premium features, you can hire Mistral to do extra work for you. So a lot of companies don't like to use open source because, well, what if it goes wrong and they need tech support? How are they going to get tech support? Well, with Mistral and similar business models, there's a lot of companies that do this, like Red Hat Linux is one of the most famous examples, now owned by IBM. So you can get the free open source version. And then when you want to upgrade to something that has support and some extra bells and whistles, you can upgrade to the premium one. So that's what Mistral is doing. They have the basic open source one. And then if you want support or whatever, you can upgrade and pay them for extra services. And they also have a chatbot, LeChat, that you can use online. Or you can download it and run it completely on your own computer. The other benefit of them being in Europe is that Europe has very strict privacy laws, the GDPR, and they comply with those laws. So if you care about privacy, it's an excellent thing. And if you want something that you can run locally, again, Mistral comes in several different sizes of model. So you can run on a small computer, a medium computer, a large computer, depending on what your setup is at home or in your data center. So yeah, so that's open source AI. Why would you as a creator care about this? One reason you might care is if you don't want your stuff being shared with a big commercial company. You might not like the way Anthropic and ChatGPT are making money off of other people's work. You might not like their political stance or, their lobbying or things like that. You might have a privacy thing where you just don't want your stuff, going out there onto the web. You might have customization issues. You might want to customize it to fit your own personal needs. There's a lot of reasons. You might not want censorship because ChatGPT, Anthropic, and everybody else censors it quite a bit. And maybe you're writing murder mysteries and people are getting killed in gruesome ways in your book all the time, or whatever, right? So, yeah. So that's one reason why you might want to have an open source model sitting in your computer. You definitely do want a good computer for this. You want like a high-end gaming machine with a good graphics card. The higher end the computer, the bigger the model you're going to be able to run. But the models are getting more efficient all the time so that you get good performance even on smaller machines. So keep an eye out for that. But also it's a reason, if you were looking for an excuse to upgrade your computer and get a new graphics card, this is your reason. It's not because, you want to have a better experience playing video games. No, it's for your career. See? All right. All right. So that's kind of like the basic 101 of AI and open source. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll also post all the links in the description and in the comments. And I'll see you all later, everybody, and happy holidays. Bye-bye.